Hi, everybody, and welcome to the first podcast on this channel. My name is Sophia, and I hope to be bringing you some more podcasts to just, refute different TV shows like This Morning or, or one of the other tabloids and the terrible stories that they always run on Meghan Markle, and then claim that they're not racist. How could you call us racist? We're just doing what we would do with everybody else. Anyway, so today we're going to be covering Dan Wootton, and he did this his podcast last month. On why he feels that the coverage on Meghan is not racist. So we're going to go through his points, and then I am going to rebut his points. Get to it that way, because these people, they think that we're not watching. They think that we're not listening, and they think that we don't know what racism looks like. Okay? So for people who have skin the color of Meghan Markle's or darker, we know what the dog whistles are. We know what racism looks like. We know what it sounds like. We know what it reads like. So it's almost like this man telling a woman that she's not being, unfairly treated because of sexism. If you're a woman, you know what sexism is. No one has to explain that to you because you live that. If we are a woman of a person of color, we know what racism is because we live it. So for this person is Dan Wootton trying to gaslight us into thinking that the British press is not being racist towards Meghan. It's hilarious and pathetic at best. So here he goes trying to explain his ways.
That there is some form of racism over the criticism of Meghan Markle. 0344 499 1000 is my number. 0344 499 1000. But look, I have very strong views on this because I report on everyone. I have done for some years, and I would say that when it comes to criticism of members of the royal family, that I have been absolutely fair. I've criticised all of them, but Prince Harry this week moved to make any type of criticism of what I would describe as the highly controversial House of Sussex immune from future attacks by the media. So, as part of his wife Meghan's ill-advised and highly political guest editor Vogue September issue, the Duke promoted this idea of so-called unconscious bias.
Okay, let's stop there. Ill-advised and highly political. Ill-advised by whom? Anything Meghan does is cleared by Buckingham Palace, by the Queen. So who is it ill-advised of or from? If it is passed by the Queen, who are you to say it is ill-advised? Okay, so, and highly political. This is for someone, this is what I mean by someone who may be sexist, and say he's not sexist, but criticizes the work of women. And the women know sexism because they live it every day. Forces for Change is not a political piece of work. Meghan is not political. I will call her an activist, but I wouldn't call her political. Diana was an activist, and before her time. That's why you all treated her like garbage, with the help of the palace. Now, how can you call something political when it has different women? We don't know what their political affiliations are. We know some, but we don't know all. Forces for Change represents a vast representation of different types of women out there with all kinds of background that have made bold moves to impact this global society that we live in. How is that political? That is being human. That is human. These are bold women who believe in themselves, who have overcome the odds, even when people like you are trying to hold them down, and have made big footprints and imprints in this global society that we live in. That makes them forces of change. Not your little petty, microscopic idea of who they are and why they were chosen for that magazine. Okay? So you're living in a little fishbowl. Okay? Your little microscopic view of the world is what's causing you to have these these short-visioned tirades that you have on your little talk radio show. Okay? Forces for Change is teaching you how these women overcome adversity, carve their own paths, and triumph in the face of adversity. Where's the politics in that, Mr. Dan Wootton? I suggest you pick up your copy. I have mine. Go pick up your copy and actually read the magazine before you comment and look stupid. Okay? Let's move on to his next point.
To racism, even if someone doesn't consider themselves to be racist. His point was very clear, and it provided catnip to all of those horrible people in the awful online Sussex squad. They are fans of Prince Harry and Meghan, who have spent the past 2 years attempting...
I have no comment about that. I've already made my opinion known about the Sussex squads. I have been a victim of their venom. But when it comes to Meghan Markle and defending Meghan Markle, if they're defending Meghan Markle from someone like you and the Daily Mail and the Sun and all you people who your mission is to tear this good woman down, I say sick 'em.
Attempting to drown out critical coverage of the couple by making outlandish, offensive, and totally unfair calls of racism.
I don't believe that they have made unfair calls of racism, because there's enough proof out there that you all have been intentionally racist towards Meghan. And then you are gaslighting people who know racism, who know the dog whistles, who know what it looks like. You gaslight us into saying, oh, we're not being racist. It's fair criticism. When you know very well it is not fair criticism. Because every time we see a poor article of Meghan Markle sat wrong. Broke protocol again, she sat wrong. When nobody has been able to produce this protocol book. where you all are getting your garbage from. If the Queen has her best people teaching Meghan the ropes, who the hell are you all to comment whether or not she's breaking protocol? You all need to give the woman the respect of her title, which you do not want to do that because she is half black and you don't think she deserves that title. We know what the dog whistles are. You don't need to explain to us what racism is because we know it. Most of us live it. Most of us hear the dog whistles every day or overt racism every day. So you, Mr. Dan Wootton, can play your games with somebody else.
Listening, people who are actually suffering from that type of discrimination. Now, I can tell you, because I report a lot on the royal family, Harry has been bristling about even the smallest criticism of him for some years now. And actually, he has the thinnest skin of any member of the royal family. So unlike Meghan, because she swears that she actually doesn't even read her own press, my royal sources tell me that Harry reads everything, and he often stews over the most minor of slights. So he'll sit in that publicly funded mansion, because remember, it's not a cottage, it's a £2.4 million mansion refurbished by us on taxpayers' money, and he'll watch the TV coverage and
Yes, it's refurbished by you because, well, from the Queen's purse, that was money slated to go into property renovations anyway. But even if it wasn't, you have the other members of the royal family who have had renovations that endorse the renovation that went into the cottage. Okay? And I don't want to hear anything about William and Kate is going to be king and queen someday. They've got to get through the Queen, and they've got to get through Charles. So we're talking years in the future because the Queen don't look like she's going anywhere anytime soon. Okay? And if the Queen is any indication of how long the monarch will live, then Charles got a few more years in him as well. So I don't want to hear anything about, well, the reason why Kate and William had to have, better renovations, or their renovation cost more, was because they're going to be future king and queen. They're nowhere near the throne right now. Okay, so that's a poor excuse. Poor excuse. They're going to be, it doesn't matter. They're all part of the royal family. They all are senior royals, the ones that we're talking about, and they all have duties. And you need to secure them. You need to house them. And they bring in billions of dollars into your economy. So shelling out $2.4 million to renovate their property and make sure it's secure enough to secure your bag, because that's essentially what they are, your bag. They're bringing them billions of dollars into your economy. You need to shut up and go sit down somewhere with your lies and your disgustingness.
He'll flick through the newspapers and look at all of those articles online about him while cursing his staff. And obviously, it's so much easier for them to blame anything uncomfortable on racism, rather than actually address the fact that much of the negativity towards the couple is coming from within the royal family.
Yes. Okay, I agree with him there. We don't actually have proof of this, but I strongly believe that it has to, because where are these sources coming from? But that doesn't mean that it's not because of racism. Okay? That does not mean because I know that there's a history with the houses. They all compete with each other. The Kensington, the Buckinghams, the Clarence. They all compete against each other. They're not as this united family as we keep, seeing. They have separate staff. They have separate, protocols, and not, the whole protocol for the family. But each of the houses have their own chain of authority. So yes, I've heard that for years, that there have been all kinds of fights between the houses, power struggles and whatnot. So that, I believe, that has still gone on. But if we're going to sit here and think that there isn't racism in the British royal family, a family that's been purely white except for Queen Charlotte, for generations, if we're going to sit here and say, oh no, they're not racist, none of those courtiers ever uttered a racist words in their life, then you think we are stupider than you think we are. Okay? If you're going to tell me that those British courtiers and those women who have been lining up waiting for Harry to marry an English rose, and all of a sudden he comes with a biracial American actress, if you think that there isn't racism behind these so-called leaks that are coming out of the palaces, Kensingtons, and now Buckingham, then you're stupider than I thought you were. Okay? So, but there's too many proof that when Meghan first came on the scene, we had stupid headlines like, she was straight out of Compton. Okay? For white folks, they may not get that. For people of color, they know that's straight up out of the hood. Plagued with gang violence and all that other stuff. Okay, so they're trying to put a narrative of Meghan that she's come from a crime-infested area, as all black people are, in their view. Okay? That's one of the first things. And if Harry had to come out and tell you all to chill, because this is his girlfriend, and you all are putting her life in danger with all this racist verbiage and BS, he had to come out with an unprecedented letter coming out of KP for you all to chill with your racist nonsense. You all set the tone for racism. Then you all, these leaks in cahoots with the tabloids, saying that she slapped Meghan. She slapped Kate, and Kate had Kate crying the day of the wedding, and she has this attitude, the stereotype of the angry black woman who's shaking her neck and just flipping that thumb and with her hand on her hip and just commanding everything everywhere. The stereotype of that angry black woman. That's what you try to put on her in the media. With this BBC thing, that is the stereotype of the angry black woman. Talking about she gonna cut you. Okay? So you all think people aren't watching with open eyes. Calling her stupid things like Hurricane Meghan. Making it the stereotype of the unkempt, unsophisticated, angry black woman who doesn't belong in polite society. And you think that we're too stupid to get that, Mr. Dan Wootton, but we're not. So you and your colleagues in the tabloids and the British media know that we see you, and we will continually call you out for your racist nonsense. Let's go.
The royal family and staff of the royal family are the ones that are very often leaking these stories to the press. And to call the outrage over Meghan's guest edit in any way racist is entirely missing the point. The reason that it's had so much criticism and so much coverage is simply because of how controversial it is. So it's dominated by politics and dominated by sensitive social issues.
Okay. What is the point of having a platform? What is the point of having these patronages if you're not actually doing work that's going to affect those patronages? Okay? Like I already explained Forces for Change. There's nothing political about Forces for Change. It's about women empowerment, period. Her platform plainly, she's always been for women empowerment. So this is no different. So it's you sexists and you racists cannot get over the fact that this woman is organized, she's purposeful, she's not a hypocrite because she doesn't want to just sit in open buildings and wave all day. She actually wants to roll up her sleeve and use her platform to help other people. And you all can't get your hand around that. You couldn't get your head around it when Diana tried to do it. And now, with a half-black woman who's trying to do it, no wonder there is outrage all over the place. Because you don't think she is fit for your polite society anyway. And you're trying to break her as, however you can. Break her spirit. Turn people against her. All these crazy headlines out. The people know, people are seeing what you're doing.
Meghan, and I said that this week, appears to be using the magazine to lay out a future woke political manifesto. And when that manifesto includes supporting someone like Greta Thunberg, now she's a 16-year-old Swedish firebrand with very pushy extreme left parents.
Did you all hear that? So, very pushy extreme left parents. Who cares about who her parents are? This is about a 16-year-old girl who has overcome significant odds. Okay? To try to make her place in this society. Greta has autism. And she has overcome that autism. She has gone above and beyond what regular people are doing to contribute to this world, to make this world a better place. But you're sitting here putting titles on her parents, extreme left. Who are you to say who is extreme and who is not, who is left and who? Did they tell you they were leftists? This is what I'm saying to you. It's just like you're sitting here putting labels on people and then telling us you're not putting labels on people. We're not supposed to put 1 + 1 to make 2, Mr. Dan Wootton? Anybody else looking out from the outside in would say to Greta, you are an amazing young woman. An amazing young woman. The feats that you have accomplished at 16-year-old, given the cards that you have been dealt in life, is simply amazing. We commend you. But you are bringing in her parents' political point of view. Her parents' political point of view. You are sickening. This is sickening. And then you use that to attack a 16-year-old. And then Meghan, by extension, because Meghan chose her to be a part of the forces for change. You're upset because Meghan is actually there to work. She puts everybody else to shame. She's there to work. She's there to affect change, which is what that platform is for. She doesn't want to go and open up a building today, wave at some people tomorrow, and say that she has earned her keep. That's not Meghan. And that's what's gotten under your little skin. And your colleagues' little skins.
And remember, policies that would probably make this country bankrupt in just a few years' time, if she's going to support someone like that, then some examination and critical analysis is required. And to say other royals have not been subject to that same type of criticism, or actually, and I'll be honest, in a lot of cases, much worse criticism than Meghan.
No, not much worse. I will give you that. Fergie got it. Fergie got it really bad, but part of it was because of stuff that she was doing. Diana got it really, really bad, and that's because she wanted to do something with her life, her platform. She didn't want to just wave and open buildings. And it appears at that time that Charles was jealous of the attention that she was getting. So the courtiers, Diana used to talk about those courtiers and how they made her life miserable. She called the palace a fishbowl. She told us exactly what happened in the palace. So it's not like we're guessing about what the palace environment is like. Diana already told us.
It's absurd. So Prince Charles has been the focus of so many column inches, including from me, for continuing to wade into sensitive political issues. And it's right, I believe, that the
Now, I haven't heard anything about Prince Charles's waving into political issues. No, Prince Charles got it because of how he treated his wife. That's why the people don't like Prince Charles, because of how he treated his wife. And while she was pregnant with his sons. Not because of his political... Prince Charles does pretty much what he wants. Okay? Sometimes he may get a little jest and people may joke about what he does and, make fun of his climate change and all that other stuff. But he does not get the things that Meghan get. So please, you do not compare the jest and light joking about Prince Charles and some of the things that he does, and the natural food and all that stuff that he does, to the complete hatred that Meghan gets. The hatred that Charles got, not the joking now, the hatred that he got, and still to this day many people hate him for the way that he treated Diana. Let's get that record straight.
Media points out that as our next king, it's absolutely essential for the future of the monarchy that he keeps his gob shut at times. But what about all the other female outsiders who have entered the royal family? So to say that Diana Spencer or Sarah Ferguson or Sophie Wessex or even Kate Middleton had an easier ride is just naive or delusional.
Not naive and not delusional. Diana had a tough break. We will give you that. Diana had it tough. She had it really bad. It cost her life. It doesn't get any worse than that. And that's exactly what it looks like you all want for Meghan. Because Diana and Meghan seem to be two women who wear their hearts on their sleeves. Okay? They're loved by the people. They want to actually roll up their sleeves and help the people. That's not what you all want. And you all will make active steps to destroy people like that. Now, you all destroyed Diana. You hounded her to her death, literally. And because Harry won't let you do the same to Meghan, you all have launched this just all-out smear campaign against Harry and Meghan, but mostly Meghan. Harry won't let you get close to his wife and child, and you all are upset because you have no access to them. He cut you all off cold. But because you all are not men enough to go straight to the man, because he is the royal blood after all, y'all can't say too much about Harry. So you go after his wife. You all say things about Harry when it's between Harry and Will, and you all got to protect Will and you know, throw Harry under the bus. But when you're protecting royal blood, you throw the non-royal blood under the bus. So you all are throwing this woman out underneath the bus. She has done absolutely nothing to any of you. She's the sweetest person in the world. Anyone who has ever met her says that she is the sweetest person in the world. But you will think by these headlines that she is one of the most wicked, evil people you've ever met. By the headlines that keep coming out of your British media every single day. And for you not to see that, Dan Wootton, I won't even say that you're naive. I will say that you're just plain old stupid. And a racist.
So, if you remember, in the months before Diana's death, she was a revered figure and she had overwhelming public support. And obviously there was that legendary Panorama interview where she called for the throne to bypass her husband altogether. But she still remained a target for much criticism when her campaigning became too political. And I was looking back at this week, and it's sometimes hard to recall this because of what happened in that terrible week in 1997. But just 3 days before that tragic accident in Paris, Diana, and remember at that point she was no longer a future queen or anything like that, was being severely criticised for describing the former Prime Minister John Major's landmine policies as hopeless in a French newspaper interview. But she was totally aware that she needed to stay out of politics, and she denied ever making that quote. And in fact, her office actually released a statement, and I went back and found that statement this week. And it was a statement from Kensington Palace that said of Diana that her stance on the question of landmines had been apolitical throughout, and her concerns are exclusively humanitarian. So Princess Diana knew it was essential, even as a former member of the royal family, to stay out of politics. Now, Fergie, think about...
Okay, but Harry and Meghan are not in politics. So you're drawing a really wide blanket. They have not made the only political statement Meghan made was about Trump, and that was before she became a princess. That's when she was Meghan Markle, actress on Suits, and said that she would move to Canada if this fool ever got into office. Okay? And she ended up moving to England. But that is the only political statement that we have heard of Meghan Markle. Meghan has not been in any political, nothing political. You're trying to make what she's doing seem political because of your own political beliefs. Okay? You have problems with who is on the cover of Forces for Change. You have problems that it's not all white people. You have problems that it's not majority white women. You have problems that that there are people in there that are transgender. Those are your beliefs that you will have problems that you're trying to put on Meghan saying that she's being political, when in fact it is you that is being political. Meghan is not being political. This is all humanitarian for Meghan. She's seeing the human in all these women, the forces that change the world in these women. And she's letting women know that all women, we all have the capacity to make serious changes in our lifetime. And she's encouraging women to do so. But you and your limited understanding, because of your own racism and your own sexism and your own political beliefs, you're trying to put this terrible, terrible thing on this woman and then claim that you're not being racist, as if we can't see and hear the dog whistles and the blatant racism. You must be kidding me.
About all of the criticism that she's had post-divorce, she actually became a figure of derision for doing those Weight Watchers ads and appearing on TV shows like Friends. Sophie,
listen, if Meghan had done anything close to what Fergie had done, you all destroyed Fergie. You would have destroyed Meghan, built her back up, just to destroy her again, and keep her down the second time. What Fergie did, Meghan wouldn't have even been allowed to do without you totally destroying her. Fergie's still living, in royal household. Anybody said anything about that? Isn't she still living with Andrew? Why is a non-royal person living in, royal housing that's paid for by the tax dollars? Why was Epstein lending Fergie money? We haven't heard anything about that. But you want to talk about Meghan's work? Trying to help other people? But we have all these other things going on, and nobody's saying anything about them? And then you don't expect us to connect the dots? 1 + 1 equals racism? Please.
She was forced to give up that very unrealistic dream she had of continuing her PR career after marrying Prince Edward.
We haven't heard peep of Edward and Sophie. Matter of fact, they could be living in La 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 Loop land. We don't know, because there's no coverage of Edward and Sophie. Nothing. Not a peep. Okay, once in a while we might see that Sophie is, gone out on somewhere. She's, somewhere doing something. Not a peep of scandal, nothing. Nothing. So please, save it. Oh, and by the way, have you seen where Edward lives? How much did that cost?
What about Camilla? Come on. How negative has the press been about her? Even Kate.
Listen, as far as I know, Meghan didn't sleep with another woman's husband. Meghan was nobody's mistress. Meghan didn't help break up a marriage. Meghan didn't help destroy the other woman's reputation, helping to smear her in the media. So Camilla deserves all the bad press that she's got. Okay? Because she bought that on herself. How can you compare Camilla and all that she did to Meghan, who has done nothing even remotely close to that? Not even a thought has come in that woman's head about woman doing what Camilla has done. You must be out of your mind to compare those two. And still today, Camilla doesn't even get any bad press at all. It's all Meghan. And Meghan hasn't done anything. except for trying to learn her position, to support her husband, and to work hard in her new position in the British royal family. And you all have been on her heel every step of the way, trying to trip her intentionally, and then hide your hand and said it wasn't you. But we see you, Dan Wootton. We see you, Camilla Townley, or whatever, however we pronounce the name. We see you, Piers Morgan. We see you. We see all of you.
Kate Middleton, who most people say received an easy ride from the press, you're wrong. She was called Waity Katie for years.
Oh, wow. So she was called Waity Katie for years. Waity Katie for years. Meghan was called straight out of Compton. She was portrayed as a dark-skinned hood rat that will cut ya if you touch her man. She was called, there was a rumor going around that the baby Archie wasn't Harry's. She cheated on Harry. There's a rumor going around that she had a baby 20 something years ago and she dropped it off at... Please stop trying to gaslight us by telling us Kate being called Waity Katie is anything remotely close to what Meghan has been put through in the press, in the tabloid press. We're not stupid, Dan Wootton.
And no one suggested, even for a single second, that any of the coverage around those events was racist in any way. So
No, they weren't racist. They were you all, the tabloids, trying to get your jollies. Meghan's is racist. Because from the beginning, you all showed your true colors. Pun intended. From the beginning, when Harry had to come out and check you all to stop being racist against his girlfriend and putting her life in jeopardy. From the beginning, you all showed that it was because she was half black more than anything else. So now you can't go back and take things back because we've already seen all of that. And all of that has already been registered. And we see clearly that you all are racist. Whether the courtiers are feeding you stuff out of Buckingham Palace, out of Kensington Palace, because they didn't think that a half-black American woman should have married their precious prince, or because, that's just the way they do things there with the different houses fighting against each other, trying to keep bad news from the other, the Kensington Palace might try to keep bad news about William out of the press by throwing another royal under the bus. Apparently that's how they work. I don't know what the reason is, but I know part of it has to do with racism. Because it was about race from the very beginning. So you all can't go back and try to erase that part. You all made that clear from the very beginning, that it was about race.
Should be remembered, it really should be remembered, that the vast bulk of Prince Harry's and Meghan's misadventures are being reported that way because they are doing things differently and they are potentially upsetting members of the royal family who are very, very strong in their belief that the royals must stay out of politics.
That's bullshit, because most of the things you all criticize Meghan and Harry for, someone in the royal family has already done. Okay? The guest editor, that has already been done by Charles and by William. Okay? Traveling by jet plane or chartered plane, that's been done by several members of the royal family. The renovations that you all criticize them for, a drop in the bucket compared to what the rest of the royal family spent on renovations and their dwellings. Like I said, go check out Andrew's house. I want you to come back and tell me how much that cost. And the other son, Sophie's husband, come back and tell me where he lives, how much that cost. But you all do these, and you are mad at Harry for protecting his wife and his kid and keeping them away from you all. So of course that you all are going to work with the courtiers who are trying to get bad news away from their people, and throw another royal underneath the bus, the newest royal, the one that is expendable in their view. But like Diana, they misread the mood and the heart of the people. And that thing with Diana almost destroyed the monarchy if they didn't fix it. And if you keep on doing that, what you're trying to do with Meghan, you all seem like you're trying to get Meghan to be hurt like Diana was hurt. But Harry will not allow that to happen. And because he won't allow you access to his wife and child, you all have gone ape shit mad. Thrown anything to the wall, hoping something will stick. Creating fake controversies everywhere. And you think we don't see that?
But this week, right, commentators and royal reporters, and actually even balanced TV stars like Eamon Holmes, who's obviously the host of this show Monday to Thursday, and he was just raising genuine questions on the This Morning show on ITV. And we've been branded racist by total non-entity correspondents or Twitter trolls who are...
Okay. I don't have any much love for the Sussex Squad because of the way they treated me. But calling them Twitter trolls because they are telling you that you are racist is ridiculous. And non-entities, you don't know who is behind. Like I told the Sussex Squad about how they treat people and talk to people, you don't know who is behind the avatars and the screen name. So calling people who identify themselves as part of the Sussex Squad as non-entities and trolls is ridiculous because you don't know who you're talking to. And obviously they do have some impact in what they are doing because you are addressing them. Although you trying to call them trolls, that doesn't lessen the impact that they have had that made you realize that you needed to address them. And the fact that you all are being racist and sexist, you need to be called out on it in every shape, way, and form.
Essentially left-wing commentators. And I just think that's shameful. And actually, as for the MP Day...
Now, this is what I'm saying. How do you all know who's left-wing and who's right-wing? Just because they defend Meghan Markle doesn't mean that they're all left-wing. There are plenty of right-wing people that love Meghan Markle. or they see the bullshit that you all are trying to put on her, and they're not falling for it. So you all are sitting here trying to put everybody in this left-wing box, like only the far left love Meghan Markle and are defending Meghan Markle. I will, I am going to tell you that Meghan has support far and wide among all parties, among all sexual orientation, among all religions. So please stop trying to box people who come to you and tell you you're being racist into your little racist and little pint-sized boxes that you have set up for yourself. Don't put any of us into your box, because you don't know where we stand on the political chart.
David Lammy, who decided to use the criticism to accuse the UK of being, wait for it, this is the quote, shamelessly full of racist tropes. Well, that is disgusting. Do we really want to become a world where you are discriminating against someone unless you are criticising a person of the same race as you, the same gender as you, or the same sexual identity as you? Of course.
Okay, and that's not the point. If you were merely criticizing Meghan and Harry, I'm sure that would be understandable. But you all are creating fake controversy. The same things that the royals have done, the other royals have done, that no one bats an eye about. You are creating fake controversy if Meghan does it. You all are making stuff up, like Meghan slapped Kate and made Kate cry. How ridiculous is that? But you all have put that all out in the atmosphere. In your papers, everybody. Come on. And you expect us to believe that your ginned up lies is fake, is criticism. There's a difference between criticizing someone fairly and balance, and making up fake stuff to try and tear them down and ruin their reputation. And that is what you all are trying to do to Meghan. Every single damn day. And make no mistake about it, Mr. Dan Wootton, we see you clearly.
We all agree. The fact that Meghan is mixed race is irrelevant to all of this, but what is very relevant is this questionable path that she's going down by choosing to become a political activist while a fully paid up member of the royal family who is...
That is your opinion. Like I said, Meghan hasn't done anything political. She's done things outside the box. When she did her cookbook to help women who suffered a terrible tragedy, you all say that she was, palling around with terrorists. And you ran that as if it was an actual story, that she was palling around and with terrorists. And you all don't think that I keep asking that question. You all really don't think that we can see you.
Is here to support us and represent us. And that is the point. That is why she's being criticized, and that is why there has to stay criticism.
Well, criticism, like I said, ginned up fake controversy, no. We will call you out on that every single time, because that's exactly what it is. Ginned up fake controversy with lies and hatred and sometimes racial undertones, and many times overt racism that we can clearly see. So don't try to tuck it nicely into a neat package, Mr. Dan Wootton. She didn't do anything political. Nobody said anything about these women have contributed to their society, their planet that they live on. She wanted to empower and encourage women. There's nothing political about that. Her platform is to empower women and children. And the Buckingham Palace, Kensington Palace, they have made that perfectly clear that she's a proud feminist and her platform is to uplift women and children. So if you didn't get that memo, perhaps you should mosey on back over to her web page where they tell you what her platform is, and go reread it, because it seems, Mr. Dan Wootton, that you are grossly misinformed. All right, so after this, guys, he interviewed two people. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. Y'all can, I linked the interview down in the bottom there. Y'all can go finish that. I just wanted to address his comments, because after the comments that he just made, he went in to interview two different people. But they were full of lies and full of gaslighting. And that has become my favorite term these days, because it seems like people, when they gaslight you, they tell you, they do this thing to you, they slap you in the head and they say, "No, I didn't slap you in the head. You're mistaken." They're doing racist things every day against Meghan, and then trying to tell us they're not doing racist things. We're misinformed. We are not seeing correctly, or there's something wrong with us. When people of color know, who live it every day, knows what racism feels like. When women who live it every day know what sexism is. Okay? When transgender and homosexual men and women, they know what homophobia is. Nobody has to explain that to them. Okay? So for you to sit here and do everything that this whole tirade, especially when you compared Camilla and Charles to Meghan, the tabloids have every right to go after Camilla and Charles, especially for the disgusting things that they did. Okay? And what about when Anne slept with Camilla's husband? Did we hear about that all over we should still be hearing about that, but we don't. But you all want to tear down a woman while she was pregnant. Every single day, and when the woman was on maternity leave, you all still were riding her, making up all kinds of foolishness and lies and disgust, and then you expect us not to say that you all are racist and sexist. Not on this watch. And you can call us trolls or non-existent people, non-entities, if you will. But thank God that the internet has made this somewhat a leveled platform, because then our voices can be heard, just like yours. All right. So you all, this was my first one. I plan on doing these rebuttals to different things that I hear about Meghan. And I had actually just finished watching the tennis match. Oh, poor Serena. Oh, that's my girl, though. She tried. She came back hard, but she ended up losing the U.S. Open. But Meghan was looking gorgeous as usual, coming out with her beautiful self, unbothered by the craziness that's around her. That's my girl. So they were all, she looked gorgeous. As usual, everything that she wore sold out. The Meghan effect. She's just a force for change herself, and that's why people don't like her. And the fact that Harry moves heaven and earth to protect her also ticks people off, and they don't like him and her for that. Well, y'all gonna have to just deal with it, because the Sussexes are here, and so is baby Archie. And so is the Sussex fam. Bye-bye. Until next time, y'all. Have a good day.